Title: The Last Door Never Opens. Part 1. The Letter. The rain had been falling since sunset. The streets of Ashcroft were empty, and a cold wind echoed through the narrow alleys. Ryan Walker, a 32-year-old investigative journalist, sat alone in his apartment, searching for his next big story. For years, he had exposed fake hauntings, abandoned hospitals, and mysterious disappearances. He believed every ghost story had a logical explanation. At exactly 11:59 p.m., someone knocked on his door. 3 slow knocks. Knock, knock, knock. Ryan opened the door immediately. No one was there. The hallway was completely empty. Only a small black envelope lay on the floor. It had no stamp, no address, no sender's name. Only one sentence was written on the front in red ink. Ryan Walker, the last door is waiting for you. A cold chill ran down his spine. Inside the envelope was an old rusty key and a yellowed map. The map showed a place called Ravenshade Manor. Ryan searched for the name online. Nothing. No records. No photographs. Almost as if the place had never existed. The next morning he drove toward the location marked on the map. After 6 hours, the road ended. Ahead stood a dense forest. The GPS stopped working. His phone lost all signal. The only path forward disappeared into the dark trees. Ryan grabbed his backpack, camera, flashlight, and the mysterious key. As he walked deeper into the forest, he noticed strange symbols carved into the trees. Some looked hundreds of years old. Others appeared freshly carved. Suddenly, he heard footsteps behind him. He turned around. Nothing. Only silence. Minutes later, the forest opened into a massive clearing. Standing before him was Ravenshade Manor. It was enormous. Its windows were broken. Black vines covered the walls. The iron gate slowly opened by itself with a long metallic scream. Above the entrance, carved into the stone, were 5 terrifying words. No one leaves after midnight. Ryan looked at his watch. 11:58 p.m. He had only 2 minutes before midnight. Then, the front door slowly opened by itself. And from somewhere deep inside the mansion, someone whispered his name. Ryan. End of part. Title: The Last Door Never Opens. Part 2. The Hall of Shadows. Ryan stood frozen outside the mansion. The whisper had sounded so clear that it felt as though someone was standing only inches away. He looked at his watch. Midnight. The old clock tower above the mansion suddenly rang. 1, 2, 3. The echoes continued until the 12th bell faded into the darkness. At that exact moment, the heavy wooden door slowly closed behind him. Ryan rushed toward it. He pulled the handle with all his strength. It would not move. He was trapped. His flashlight flickered as he stepped into the entrance hall. Dust covered the marble floor. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling. An enormous chandelier swayed gently, although there was no wind. The silence was unbearable. Then, footsteps echoed from the second floor. Slow, heavy, deliberate. Ryan aimed his flashlight toward the staircase. No one was there. He carefully climbed the old wooden stairs. Every step creaked loudly beneath his feet. Halfway up, he noticed dozens of old portraits hanging on the walls. Every person in the paintings had their eyes scratched out. Only one portrait remained untouched. It showed a little girl wearing a white dress. She was smiling. Ryan took a photo. When he checked the camera, the girl was no longer smiling. She was crying. His heart began to race. A cold breath touched the back of his neck. He turned around instantly. Nothing. Then a child's voice whispered, "Don't let him find you." Before Ryan could react, a loud crash echoed from the end of the hallway. A door slowly opened by itself. Inside the room stood an ancient grandfather clock. It was still ticking. Tick, tock, tick, tock. As Ryan moved closer, he noticed fresh footprints in the dust leading toward a large red door at the far end of the corridor. The mysterious key in his pocket suddenly became warm. Without touching it, the key slowly floated out of his pocket and pointed toward the red door. Then every light inside the mansion went out. Complete darkness surrounded him. A deep voice echoed through the hall. "You should have stayed away." Ryan gripped his flashlight tightly as something began walking toward him from the darkness. End of part 2.